BBC Question Time host Fiona Bruce has clashed with a Labour minister over the government's immigration policy. The presenter put it to Baroness Jacqui Smith that under Sir Keir Starmer's policies, migrants arriving in the UK illegally who claim asylum successfully can get indefinite leave to remain. Ms. Bruce said the immigration status brings benefits such as universal credit and access to the NHS but will now no longer come with a passport or an ability to stand in public office. The host, referencing whether this was an effective deterrent, asked, "Do you think that's the thing that's going to make the difference?" Baroness Smith said, "I don't think that's the only thing that's going to make a difference." The host said, "But how do you think this is going to make a difference?" The minister said she would come to it in a moment, but the presenter pressed her on that specific question. Baroness Smith said, "You said to me what would make a difference." But Ms. Bruce interjected to repeat the question, "Will denying citizenship to anyone that enters the UK legally reduce the number of people trying to get in?" The minister said, "What happened with the guidance this week is that yes, the government did toughen it up. They did say that there would no longer be a 10-year default position where you would be eligible to get your citizenship. And that if you had come illegally, particularly exploited onto a small boat and with your life put at risk, an important signal would be that that would be a criteria which would make it less likely that you would get citizenship." Pressed again, she added, "It's sending a clear message to people who are being exploited and killed by people trying to get them into small boats across the channel that won't achieve the objective that they want to achieve." The Home Office toughened up guidance to make it nearly impossible for refugees to become British citizens if they travel to the UK by small boat. The move has sparked an outcry from Labour MPs and refugee charities, who urge the government to reconsider. On Monday, the department updated guidance for staff assessing refugees, so it now says applicants who have made a dangerous journey will normally be refused citizenship. Under the previous guidance, refugees who arrived in the UK by irregular routes would be required to wait 10 years before being considered for citizenship. Here is a summary of internet users' reactions. "I watched a TV program in German, called Klartext. Alice Wider-Leverft was on a show talking with members of the public about immigration and her view was exactly the same as Nigel's. Those people that enter country to work, pay taxes, integrate, be upstanding members of the public, honest, law-abiding, etc., should have no problems. Those that enter the country using irregular routes, shouldn't be allowed to stay. Those that don't work, pay taxes, integrate, are not upstanding members of the public, are dishonest, not law-abiding, etc., should have no right to reside. There is nothing wrong with those stipulations. UK population in 1950 equals 50 mil. UK population in 1975 equals 56 mil. UK population in 2000 equals 59 mil. UK population in 2024-2025 equals 69 mil. There you go. Very simplified, and even a Labour MP can see why the UK is in such a state. In 50 years, 1950 to 2000, UK population added circa 2010 mil on the total population. In half that time, 25 years, we have managed to grow the population by a similar amount. The UK cannot sustain such population growth, and if we continue as we are seeing circa 700k per annum, we are on track to halve the time again to add another 10 mil to our population. On top of this unsustainable population growth, we are already one of the most densely populated Western nations. We actually make the top 50 densely populated countries on the planet. We are over 2 times more densely populated than France. Immigration can be good for a country, yet you need the right type. Sadly for the UK, we are taking in people that are net takers who cannot afford to live here and burdening the rest of us with keeping them in the lives they are now becoming accustomed to. Many of those that are coming here are not sharing our values and way of life, no interest to integrate, and want to change what we have to suit their beliefs. I'd love to say past and current governments are clueless, but they are not. They can clearly see this is what undermines the UK and is the source of our woes both socially and financially. Labour are not tightening up on legal and illegal migration. OMS believe net migration for the UK will be circa 340k from 2028 onwards. Not just optimistic, they are living on a different planet. Net migration for the UK under the Tory watch was, for 2024 equals 728k. For 2023 equals 800k 900k. For 2022 equals 745k. For 2021 equals 2.2 million. For 2020 equals 93k. For 2019 equals 184k. For 2018 equals 300k 350k. The Labour government have not tightened up on legal migration, in which the numbers will come down. I don't see how the ONS can forecast 340k net from 2028 onwards. Between now and 2028, we can expect more of the same. Cooper has actually relaxed the rules on legal migration, which the Conservatives had tried to tighten up just prior to the GE to be seen to be doing something that they had failed miserably on. We don't have a housing shortage, we have a migration problem where our inorganic population growth is unsustainable. House building is not the answer. It's precisely the benefit system and the NHS that are the draw. It is completely disingenuous to say otherwise. This is the same Jacqui Smith that barred an MP from another EU country, Geert Wilders, from entering the UK to visit, one of the few fighting for Europe's survival. There was also all that shady stuff about expenses. Why are people like her, and Mandelson, being recycled? They need to stop immediate benefits, housing and services access. A successful claim also shouldn't include extended family. The UK should be looking to Sweden for where we're headed if we don't. It's just become an exploitation feeding frenzy on vulnerable PPA. The UK needs to get its own house in order. Huge homelessness, housing, NHS and public services systemic collapse. An outcry from Labour MPs and refugee charities. They are not refugees. A true refugee would no throw papers and passports away. Some would say they had to flee, why then not make for the first safe country? I'm a Labour supporter, but this is discrimination against people with refugee status. That isn't fair. These migrants coming into this country can be stopped, but aren't being stopped. Therefore my conclusion is, they're here with our government's approval, both the Conservative and Labour. If somebody was entering my house and I didn't want them entering, believe me, they wouldn't be allowed to enter. If someone was stealing from my shop, it'd stop them stealing from my shop. Believe me, these migrants can be stopped, yet here we are. The farce of our asylum systems gets even worse. Ghanaian wins right to stay in Britain after staging marriage she did not attend. A Ghanaian tourist was granted the right to live in Britain under Brexit marriage rules, even though she did not attend her own wedding. Francisca Boateng, 42, won her immigration appeal after claiming that her proxy marriage to a German citizen living in Britain had lasted long enough to qualify her to remain in the UK. Ms. Boateng had come on holiday to Britain where she met Fatau Swalihu, a German citizen, before returning home to divorce her husband at the time. The number of people identified as victims of modern slavery in the UK has been rising year on year, with over 12,000 people referred to the authorities in 2021. The real number of PPA trapped in slavery is estimated to be much higher, more than 130,000 people. Heard the one about the women from Ghana who married by proxy someone in Germany while she was still in Ghana, then came to the UK with her children and claimed the right to stay, which was upheld. This woman and her children from Ghana are now in the UK. Many of these people have been trafficked across Europe. No wonder they CEM when they reach the UK. We have an obligation to help them and their families. When nothing is given, then the word spreads that Britain is not a good destination for handouts or any non-existent long-term rights. Disincentivizing is important. People would research thoroughly prior to arriving. If there is no hope of anything other, then hardly anyone would want to arrive at all. If those who arrive via unauthorized means are forever banned and barred, then that would help a lot to dissuade. Between the 5th of July 2024 and the 31st of January 2025, a total of 16,400 people with no right to be in the UK were removed. Enforced returns are up 24% compared to the same period last year. 2,580 foreign criminals were removed, a 23% increase on last year. Labour have removed more migrants from Britain in their first 6 months than in any other 6-month period over the past 5 years.